So Megan Szanik from Calgary,
From Calgary,
Canada.
Alberta, Canada, right?
Yeah,
Right beside the mountains,
yeah.
1,000 meters above sea level.
1,000 meters.
There is no fish there
No fish at all.
except this fish.
The orange,
The
the
orange
orange,
fish.
the orange one.
That's
Yeah,
right.
okay. I was going to call it another name, but I won't because it's recorded now. Yeah. Okay, hey, Espy. Tell me about Espy. What's it about?
So espy, if you break down the word, it's the root of the word espionage. So it means to catch sight of something or discover something new.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do with all of our clients is help them discover their confidence. Like you can say I sell clothes, but I
Mm-hmm.
sell confidence. I want every guy and every girl to walk out, shoulders back, tits out, like, yes, I'm here,
Cool.
I look good, I feel good. Because what we know is that when you feel good, you do good.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be more successful in your life. So Espy is not just a clothing store. We don't just open the doors. We're here to style you. We're here to serve you. Everyone that works for me is a full-time fashion stylist. They all have degrees in fashion. And
Cool.
so it's cool. It's like going to the dentist. You expect the dentist to know how to do your teeth.
Of
You come to
course.
Espy, you should expect the person to know how to dress you.
Okay, it sounds like music to my ears.
Well, anyone that can tell a story, I think that's why you and I connect so well, is that we're always telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
We're always telling the story of why, this is going to work with this or how you want to be
Mm-hmm.
perceived. And that's what I really admire about the Fish Named Fred brand is that you're always telling a story. And the consumer can get hooked
Yeah.
that way now, can't they?
And how do we get this story across? Because obviously, Canada, Calgary, even is a long way from here. We're now in Amsterdam. So how does that come across? Because obviously, you're one of the few Canadian retailers that gets over here to do the trade shows. Because you've been doing Pitti Florence.
Hmm.
You've been doing because we've been seeing you in Berlin, and yeah, last few days been seeing you. I mean,
Well, for us, it's really important to come and get that story. So when we can connect with our customers, we can tell them, we can show them all of those details.
yeah,
Unfortunately, when you're dealing with international, and you see this with all your international customers and distributors, you're not getting that story across in the same way.
uh huh,
So we're hoping to have a little bit more local love,
uh huh,
being able to put the fish head in the window. This is coming home with me to Calgary today. That's
cool,
where we're going to be able to really tell that story. When
yeah,
we first showed our salespeople, here's what Fish Named Fred is really about. When we brought the photos from last spring, they were just like, no way. They didn't even expect it, they didn't even know it. So we're planning on changing that for the better, just by having a better selection of Fred in the store, by being able to tell that story from a
mm-hmm,
color
mm-hmm,
perspective, saying, yes, this shirt matches this, matches this, matches this, to make that person really feel put together,
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that the story has to be told by the salespeople themselves on the floor. So it's going to matter. Like I'm definitely going to be promoting my sales manager, a few pieces of fish named Fred. He already owns some, but letting him put it together in that way so we can sell it to his client. People can't see it the
uh huh,
same way on themselves until they see it on someone else. So I think having some little Fred ambassadors will be a really good way to work with some of the stores in Canada to make sure that we've got guys fully head to toe showing the full look.
yeah.
Because I think we're missing a lot of that with that international trends, like that translation that happens.
I see, yeah, yeah. Because yeah, as you know, we can dress them from top to toe. So much more than just a shirt or a blazer or whatever.
Oh,
And
exactly.
I like your approach of absorbing all these elements to your shop. But on the other hand, I always ask myself, like, why are other brands not doing all these connecting things?
And I think these are the connecting things that are going to keep your brand relevant in the
Mm-hmm.
market. I think what's really interesting is some people, just like some retailers, they open their doors and they just expect people to come in. The most important brand that I have is SB Experience. It's the one that's on the
Yeah, sure.
door. And it's me that's telling my clients, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. So when a salesman comes to me and says, I've got the best brand for you,
Mm-hmm.
do you
Mm-hmm.
really? Because what's best for my clients is what's best for me.
Sure.
And that's why we really love to connect with people that have a full story so that we can tell something that it makes sense to connect. I mean, I wish I was able. So many stupid things in Canada, like I can't bring in the fish, right? I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
have the beer, which would just thrill people. But there are other things that we can do.
Maybe you can brew it locally.
Well, this is the
Why
thing.
not?
Local breweries are a big deal, and
Yeah,
also in my neighborhood,
yeah.
local breweries are a really big deal. We have those pedal pubs. Have you seen them where people just get drunk and they pretend to ride a bike
Oh,
on this
really?
thing around?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
know
you've
it.
seen
Yeah,
those?
yeah, yeah.
And so that would be cool sponsoring them and having them go through the neighborhood
Oh,
and like
sure.
having a fish named Fred beer. So those are some of the things I think could really work locally that we could get into to do some of this stuff. And then also, I'm sure you've heard about our Naked Espy event for prostate cancer.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you can explain the
Okay, so
audience.
this is where we get 100 guys to strip down to their underwear
Mm-hmm.
for cancer. So they raise money. They tell their friends, like, I'm going to be standing outside in
Yeah.
my underwear at Espy. And we strip them down. We talk to them about their health. And I parade them through the neighborhood, getting them slightly drunk. And then we have a big party where the party goes from naked to dressed. So this is a
Mm.
hilarious day. Your face
It's
hurts.
stripping, but then the other way around.
and
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, everybody's dressed. The party must be over. But
Yeah, and then it starts.
but that's the thing. But
Yeah.
at Espy, we're a small business. We're one shop. Okay, we're not small shop. We're 1,000 square meters.
Yeah.
But we're one store that has raised over $500,000 for charity doing these kind of events by
Crazy.
bringing community together. You know, one of my goals for 2023 is more social connection and less
Uh-huh.
social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's something you do really well. Rob, when you meet Rob in person, you'll remember him for sure. And then, but how many people came up to Rob when we were beside each other in the last like 5-6 days? And he would look at me, I know that guy, but I don't know that guy.
Yeah, I'm very bad with faces and names, you know. So that's always the thing. Yeah.
But it's a social connection which we
Yeah.
create in our shop, which
Yeah.
you create
Yeah,
with
but
your
I talk to
customers.
everyone, eh?
Oh,
I
you
mean,
do?
I'm not like.
And they
okay,
love
I don't
it.
know you. I don't want to know you.
No, and I think that that's really amazing because we need more social connection. I think we've had 2 years of Corona.
Mhm.
We've had 2 years where people were not connecting socially.
Mhm.
So we need to find those places where we can connect.
Mhm.
And if we're going into a Fish Named Fred store, if we're going to a Fish Named Fred event where there's a cool band playing, these are the things that are going to create those social connections. Specifically for men, I think. We do
Yeah.
Scotch and Socks
Yeah.
nights where they come in, they taste Scotch, they get some free socks.
Cool.
And these are the kind of things that we need more
Scotch
of.
and socks.
Scotch and socks,
Sounds good.
right? And then it's always a free pair of socks, and who doesn't love Scotch?
Uh-huh.
So we need our retailers doing more and more of this to create connections, and that's what we do at Espy because we
Definitely.
realize
Yeah.
it's a part of our mantra that these are the reasons that people come back. There's a million places to buy things.
Mhm.
We can just log onto our
Sure.
computer. Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
But that's not what they remember. They
No.
remember coming in, having that interaction, hearing that story, and then telling their friends later, can you find the fish in my shirt?
Sure.
You know,
sure.
telling the
That's
customer.
part of the story. Yeah.
It's part of the story so
Yeah.
that they get to be part of that story when they see the hook there.
Yeah.
And what's that from? Well, let me tell you. And do you know? There's
Yeah.
a fish
Yeah.
hidden somewhere in this print. These are the kind of things that people think are really cool. So the fact that you go above and beyond makes the difference for us at retail. And
Yeah.
I know not everybody sees it, and that must be disappointing for you. But
No, it's not. Because eventually, on one moment in time, maybe after 5 times of ironing, it doesn't matter. They'll recognize it.
they'll
see
discover it. They'll
Yeah.
discover it.
Or somebody else will.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we see. That's what we see a lot. That people find these hidden little gimmicks, gems, and then take it from there. And I was just telling you that what you told me was sounding like music to my ears. And as you know, we're a musical brand. And we took you to
Yeah,
to
to
a
a
nice
concert. Yeah, totally.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Super, super fun. I mean,
Yeah.
music is something that connects people. Again, that's a social part of your
Yeah.
brand. I think that to really should continue. You know, we see it a lot. We are part of the Music Mile in Calgary. So these are some volunteers that came together and said, hey, let's create a space that we can have all sorts of musicians. So
Mhm.
they'll have everyone from a busker all the way up to a musician that's quite
Yeah.
renowned playing in the neighborhood. And we like to be involved with that kind of stuff. And
cool.
I think it's really important that we support these local musicians, that we pay, that we download their songs on Spotify.
Yeah.
We make them easier to find
Sure.
versus just being like, oh, Beyonce, Doja
Yeah.
Cat. let's go and really support the people that are out there making their living from this. And it's a
Cool.
different way to
Yeah.
make a living, right?
Definitely.
There's a
Definitely.
shirt this year coming in, and it's
Yeah.
all record sleeves. And of course, now we want to go back to the vintage. We want to touch.
Even you can see the names of the artists.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes there's Fred in between
Of
somewhere.
course.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course there
yeah.
is.
We deliberately did that, but
But
yeah,
it's nice to be able to support that. It's nice to be able to support the musicians.
yeah,
And that's something that people kind of forget about.
yeah,
But there's so many talented people out there, and we can create community and not have to be this massive company. It's an advantage to being a smaller company
yeah.
to be authentic, that the
Sure.
owner can go and discuss things, go right to the band and say, hey, I'm the owner of Fish Named Fred and the founder, and let's talk about dressing you.
Cool. Yeah,
Whoa.
that
It's like,
works.
it really
Definitely.
works.
Yeah.
Versus, your AR guy goes out and he's like,
Nah.
well, maybe we'll see. And like, that's
No.
not authentic. And
No.
authenticity is something that's massive. I mean, Nikki, my buyer, and I really love the Dutch because the Dutch are like, this is the way it is. You're very upfront. And I like that.
Straightforward.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Because in the fashion business, there's a lot of bullshit.
That's
Can we
right.
swear on
That's
this
right.
show?
Yeah. You can swear on this show. Yeah, of course. Show. Yeah, that sounds really professional. Like it's a show. Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
show.
Hey, Calgary, tell me a little bit because obviously Dutch people they know about Calgary because of the Olympics, but what about Calgary? What is it about?
So Calgary is an hour from the Rocky Mountains. So we
Yeah,
are an hour to go skiing.
yeah,
Lake Louise, Banff, these are places that are world renowned
yeah.
in the Rockies. When you drive away from Calgary to the west, and you're literally about half an hour, you literally start to see this open, like something you've never seen before. It's really jaw dropping. And then bears on the side of the road and
No, really.
Oh yeah. Oh, you'll always see a bear in the summer,
No
not in the
gummy
winter.
bears.
They're
No
sleeping.
gummy
No
bears.
gummy bears. No regular bears. And we'll see all the mountain goats and the moose and the elk, and that's really exciting. But because we are so close to the mountain, Calgary's quite a sporty town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Everybody's got their hiking boots and their hiking vests, and they're
cool.
going to go out and they're going to really get into the outdoors,
Yeah,
which is awesome. So that's something that I really appreciate about our town is that everybody's pretty sporty. They love it, but it's also a big, small town. So we're 1.3 million people, but the community is so strong. So in 2013, we had massive floods,
Mm-hmm.
neighborhoods were underwater, and you've got 1.3 million people. They all came together. The people that were on the
Connect.
highland
Yeah.
came down. We started digging out people's basements. We really got into that. And within 10 days, we actually put on our very famous Calgary Stampede. So this is the biggest rodeo in North America that happens in Calgary. And so
Uh-huh.
for 2 weeks, the entire town dresses like cowboys,
Oh, really?
goes to Stampede breakfast, which start with alcohol first thing in the morning, and this happens for 10 days straight. So when cowboy comes in European fashion, we're like, I just
Uh,
can't because
So
we do.
cowboy, I mean, it makes us think like Americans,
Yes,
but
we have
Canadian cowboys
Canadian cowboys. We have
is
all
another
the,
big thing.
we have
Yeah.
all the ranches around us. Lots of people
Yeah.
doing horse stuff. Lots
Okay.
of we have the Alberta beef is the best in North America. Besides, I think Texas is what Texas will claim
I'll
that they're
remember
best,
that, yeah.
of course. But you're going to see that, and so we have a lot of that culture in our back pocket in Calgary,
Mm-hmm.
and so you get the outdoor mountain kind of modern, and because we have an international airport. And there's such good jobs in Calgary. It's growing. First, it was oil and gas. Now they're really transitioning to tech and keeping some oil and gas because you need it, of course.
Yeah.
So we get all of this talent. We get all these people from everywhere. Our consumer is very smart. They travel. We see them on our
Oh.
international flights with us.
Canadian Silicon Valley.
It's becoming,
less.
which is really,
Yeah.
really great. Google just opened there and a bunch of others, and that's been really cool to kind of see those kind of transitions happen in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
But we still are an oil and gas place. And Alberta is kind of like the Texas of Canada in the fact that more capitalist, less regulation, less government interference. You could pay 58% tax in Quebec, where
Yeah.
Montreal is, but you can pay 34% in Alberta.
Okay.
So it's a really big difference. We have more disposable income. We have no VAT
Okay.
in Alberta, whereas the rest of Canada
so everyone
has.
is pulling out from the other areas coming to your place.
That's what we're
Okay.
finding. We've grown by 300,000 people in the last 10 years.
Crazy.
And so it's a young town too, and I think
Yeah.
that's why a brand like Fish works because people
Yeah.
don't want to take themselves so seriously.
Yeah, but how do you consider our brand in terms of ages?
Oh, well, my customer is 35 to 55, and I go all range, So
Yeah.
I could put a 72-year-old guy in your shirt
Yeah.
if he's funky, if he's young at heart.
Ah,
And I
that's
dress
right.
the young at heart.
Yeah.
I absolutely do. And the men that travel. And so But I would say your guy is usually, he's not taking himself too seriously. He's between 35 and 45. He's in a career already.
Mm-hmm.
We're helping him dress better,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, because a lot of men don't get that advice, when they're starting to build a wardrobe. So we really build a wardrobe for them.
Yeah,
And we also want to,
especially the guys that have no idea and they say, "See what my wife says."
oh yeah, we definitely have those.
We
We'll
discussed
see what
that.
my wife says.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's something that you need to come up with your own style. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's important for you to understand how you want to be perceived.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of things. Like we'll go into customers' homes, we do closet interventions, we take apart their closet, we put their closet back
Oh,
together.
really?
We
So
show them how to
you
wear.
get that far?
Oh, we get that far. We do personal styling appointments. We have experiences where we bring in a couple into the shop where we'll get them a bottle of wine. We'll make them a restaurant reservation. We spend 2 hours styling them. We
Really?
make it fun because men specifically sometimes are like, okay, my pants just wore out. I need to go get new pants.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
when we often see men.
Yeah.
But we're trying to make that experience of getting dressed fun. How do you want to be perceived?
Yeah.
And if a guy's a little quirky, a little fun, the fish named Fred brand really works because he has those things to point out
Yeah.
to people. He has those talking points. I always, for a shy guy, I love to put them in your blazer because then they'll have something to talk about at that
Get
mixer.
more confidence.
Yes, they
Yeah.
get that, they're out networking and they're all freaked out.
Yeah.
But then somebody says, hey, what's that hook? Oh, well, let me
Okay.
tell you.
I'll get you hooked.
Right? And
Yeah,
I think that
cool.
these are some of the things that we teach men
Mhm.
when we're dressing them about how to put things together, how to mix things
Mhm.
well. We sell about 8,000 pairs of jeans a year. It's a massive part of our business because in Calgary, you can wear jeans. It's a much more casual
How many
town.
did you say?
8,000 pairs a year we sell of jeans. Like we've sold in the last
Crazy.
13 years, like I think about 70,000 pairs of jeans. It's pretty crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's really good business and it really takes
Yeah.
us to base every outfit from bottom to top.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But that way of working sets you apart from many other retailers. I mean, are there any retailers that you know of that have the same approach of treating their clients?
Not at our size, not at a
No.
1,000 square meters with
Uh-huh.
18 staff and 16 change cabins. People do this in a small,
16
tiny boutique
change cabins.
that are always
Crazy.
full. So when we did, we went through 1,400 units in one day on the day after our Christmas sale. So we
Crazy.
close for 4 days, the staff gets some break,
Yeah.
and we can go through real units because when we go on sale, we go on sale. Because that's the thing. Like, clothing can be expensive, and sometimes you want people. Some of the coolest people are not the richest people, and you want them too.
Yeah, sure.
So when they come in and they're able to get the last fish blazer or the last fish shirt on sale, they're thrilled.
Hey, that's cool.
And you need those people
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
We also try and dress artists as well for photo shoots and things like that. So it's just about how big they can get, and I think that you really need to believe we've got amazing artists. Who you asked us the other day, who's the biggest artist? We're like, well, The Weeknd, and Drake's Canadian.
Yeah.
And you guys were like, what? Drake's
Okay,
Canadian?
I never realized. I know about Hart. I know about Seth Jordan. Really all these already.
Rush,
And women. Rush, of course. I know Guess Who. I know Blue Oyster Cult. I think is Canadian, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, they're called. The Blue. Oh yeah, they're really big. They come every year for Stampede.
Yeah,
blue,
but they're
blue. Yeah.
yeah, Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah.
But that's really old
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't realize. Well, of course, I know Justin Bieber. I know Drake. You told me.
Drake and The Weeknd is
And The
probably the
Weeknd,
biggest
yeah,
right
yeah.
now out of Canada
Cool.
because we're able to, and that's what's beautiful about the internet
Yeah.
is we've made the world so much smaller so that we can all really
Sure.
explore. But also, the internet has made everyone more homogenous.
Mhm.
I remember when I lived in Brazil in the mid '90s, I guess early '90s now, and I was looking. The fashion was so different.
Mhm.
When I went back in 2015, now the internet is there, everybody looks the same. They could have been Brazilians in North America. Like nothing was
Yeah.
different. And I thought that was a really interesting thing because we've lost some of that. We have a lot more homogenous things. So we need brands like Fish Name Brands. We need brands like Espy to say, hey, you can stand out. And it's okay
Sure.
to not look the same as everyone else.
You have to be standing out a little bit. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Speaking about Brazil, next collection is Fred Goes Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember like
We
half a
do.
year ago.
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah.
got some caipirinhas. We got some new shoes coming, the favela houses.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to take a concept like you guys do and to make it into, okay, now it's going to be a microprint and they're not going to know it's favelas, which might have a negative connotation.
Maybe they see it after 3 or 4 times. They see what it
Exactly.
is.
They'll see what it is.
Yeah.
But I think it was a really fun concept.
Hmm.
I mean, and it's interesting because you need to mix a little bit of this concept stuff with the commercial stuff. Like you've got
Yeah.
a shirt in fall 23 that has clouds, super boring, totally
Yeah.
going to sell.
Uh-huh.
Because you have those guys too. Your fit is very interesting for our market too because it's quite square here.
Yeah.
And it's great for that
It's a
guy
regular fit.
that
But we
he
still carry it from extra small to 5XL.
also super helpful.
Yeah.
Also super helpful
Yeah.
because we do a lot of that. We go from an extra small to like a 4X. We
Yeah.
can fit a guy who's like a 44
Hmm.
chest
Yeah.
all the way up to a fifth, like a guy that'd be 64. We carry in the shop. The guys
That's
love
a
it.
broad range.
Well,
Yeah.
because when that guy comes in,
Uh-huh.
he takes everything in his size.
Definitely.
And we need to not forget, go all the way up to a 38-inch inseam. I don't even know what that is in centimeters because I can.
Yeah.
But we do special makeups and special buys because we're taking care of each one of those customers. When a woman comes in and I explain to her, well, not everything in here is for you. She looks at me and I said, well, I had to buy it for Sally with the big boobs and the flat ass.
Uh-huh.
Because Sally wants
Yeah,
to feel sexy too.
Yeah.
And Judy, wants to feel great too.
Yeah.
So we're really
So not everything is for you.
no,
No.
and I can't buy just everything that I like
No.
because I need to make sure I have that fit.
Yeah.
Because it's when something fits you well,
Yeah.
it's that confidence, and it was actually the fit of Fish Named Fred that attracted us first because we
Really?
didn't see all the marketing at first.
For how long are you carrying a fish named Fred now?
I'm going to say at least 4 years,
4 years.
at least 8
Okay.
seasons.
Yeah.
And we never saw the marketing really. Like I
No.
had a customer, I was telling Nikki this morning that I had a customer that came in maybe 5 years ago
Mhm.
because I was in my smaller store.
Yeah.
They said, you got to get this brand. And they turned
Oh,
up their
really?
cuff
Oh, really?
and it said, showed a fish named Fred. Customer is still a
This is
customer
how
today.
you got to know our brand.
That's just what I knew. And then
Okay.
I happened to be at like our local trade show. And then
Yeah.
I saw it. I'm like, interesting.
This
So
the
we-
Vancouver one, or not?
Yeah. And then we tried a few shirts and the fit was really unique to us because
Yeah.
when I have a guy that's quite tall, quite slim, and quite straight here, like
Mhm.
doesn't have big traps,
No.
it fits him perfect.
Hmm.
So we have a couple customers that are only Fish Named Fred customers because of the fit. It's all a little longer. That's why
Yeah.
we like the Dutch brands because they're similar to Canadians. We're quite tall
Oh, yeah. That's
in a
right.
lot of cases
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So it was the fit of your shirt first before
That attracted.
before we knew about,
Yeah.
and then it was like, okay, we're just buying. And then when we came and met you in the summer, we were just like, this is way fucking cooler than we thought it was.
Okay, so there's still something to work on in terms of getting the message across.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah.
I think more of this and more brands, stores like Espy carrying the product.
Yeah.
Us walking through the airport with his fish head later is going to be absolute
Okay.
comedy.
Yeah. We'll maybe integrate that into the video that we'll make of this.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you have
we'll
to-
send you some
have to
footage.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, finally, do you have an advice for Dutch retailers to do it the Espy way?
I would say the best thing to do is to really connect with your clients. Make sure you have their emails. Make sure you have their mailing addresses where possible. I hand wrote 500 Christmas cards this year to my clients.
Hand wrote.
Hand wrote them.
Okay.
And literally, I would write the card on the Friday, knowing it wasn't going in the mail on the Monday. And on the Saturday, I would see that customer's name because I was thinking about them.
Yeah.
They would come in and they would spend $1,000. Okay?
Yeah.
When they got the card, they would come back.
Yeah.
We were getting messages. They were so thrilled to be able to get that personal touch. If you can do the personal touch, do the personal touch. Remember, your email is the number one. Yeah, they say you have to be on social media, and I agree. Social media is important. But the email is your number one connection to your clients. Don't
Definitely.
spam them.
Yeah.
Don't send them an email every freaking day.
No.
Once every 2 weeks is good. So they really look forward and make it really easy to action on, I would say, is really
Call
important.
to action.
Call
That's
to
right.
action, but it's that
Yeah.
personal touch. If you're a boutique and you can, even for your salespeople,
Yeah.
to have that personal touch.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the longer you can keep your employees, the longer you will keep your customers.
Sure.
The same way we follow our hairdresser, right?
Yeah.
Your stylist leaves, she goes to another place, you follow her.
Okay. Yeah.
People will follow their favorite salespeople.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
making sure you have great benefits, that you're flexible in your working hours. Like I've got a set of twins. One's been with me for 10 years. The other one's been with me for 8. They both had 2 mat leaves each, maternity leaves. They've both gone to India for 3 months in 1 year, and we worked around them. Now they can work these days because they have very young children. I work around it. They are my best salespeople. People come in requesting. So those are the things we kind of forget. Oh, but I don't have that much. You can pay someone a little bit more and have less employees.
Mm-hmm.
You will do better
Yeah.
because that person is invested in your business. So I would say connect
Committed.
with your customers
Yeah.
as much as you
Sure.
can. You
Yeah.
know, have little events for them. They love to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely your employees are the biggest place you can spend because I can go away for 2 weeks at a time and I have no problem. My staff had an event with 100 people without me with rave reviews. And that's the first time
Ooh.
we ever allowed that to happen. And they killed it. They killed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's making yourself miserable, isn't it?
Ah!
Hey, and speaking about call to action, so what's the ideal call to action if you send out a mail?
If I send it a mail,
Yeah.
for this case, it was just to wish them well, obviously.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is send them invitations to things
Yeah.
like that, to let them know we're having this event. For example, when we did our after Christmas sale that I told you
Yeah.
about, 1,400 units, that was by appointment only. The store was not open. So we had 90 appointments in one day. The change rooms were all booked for an hour.
Really?
So literally that's what we did is the call to action was you're first, you're VIP.
Yeah.
Okay? Get in here, let me book you in. So we had that call to action with our email where we booked those 90 appointments. So we did all that crazy dollars because we were able to call to action, make it really scarce. There's only this many appointments.
Sure.
You only have an hour. You should have seen me walking through
Yeah.
the change room. It's 15 minutes to everybody. Stop. Get out of the change room.
Spend.
Put your pants on, yeah. And these are the things where you make it really special for
Yeah.
your clients. Like on Women's Day, we have a Women's Day fashion show we're doing in collaboration with a women's magazine in Calgary. Again, it'll be VIP customers are invited first. Call to action. You are first,
Yeah.
right? And
Got it,
this
yeah.
makes us feel really good.
Yeah.
You know, it makes your customer feel really, I'm
Make them feel
valued.
special.
People want to be valued. They
Yeah.
want to be seen. Make sure, as simple as making sure your salespeople say hello, they follow up, they offer suggestions, because the client never knows your store. So if you're
Mhm.
looking at that woman saying, I know she's not got a navy sweater in her hand, but bring it over. And especially men
Sure.
need all the suggestions. They're
Sure,
shopping twice
sure.
a year. Until they say,
They have
I
no
give
clue.
up, you just keep bringing
Yeah.
them product.
Sure. Hey, sounds good, man.
Sounds good.
When, yeah, you're about to leave, aren't you?
On the plane.
It's noon. It's like 2 minutes to noon, 2 minutes to midnight, but then on daytime. I would say, take it away with your fish. And I'm really curious what footage comes up. So
Yes.
we'll show it after this.
We sure will.
Thank you.